Right now, Howard Dean, a former governor of Vermont and MSNBC contributor, and Hugh Hewitt, MSNBC political analyst and host of the Hugh Hewitt Show on Salem Radio Network. Gentlemen, it's great to have you with me. And really, Hugh, let me begin with you, because it's such a weird optic to see the public campaigning of Rudy Giuliani for this job, and also Kellyanne Conway coming out to kind of demean Mitt Romney and blame it on Trump supporters being outraged over this. How do you see this all playing out?
Well, I've been very interested by the parade of people going in to see the president-elect. I'm impressed, actually, by the number of people who are going to see him. Mitt Romney comes back tomorrow. General Petraeus is there today. Attorney General of Oklahoma Scott Pruitt is there. Pete Hegseth, who might end up running the VA. Marsha Blackburn. There are lots of very interesting people. I've been in the middle of one transition, 1988, and I've watched one from afar, 2000. The only person who really knows what's going on is the president-elect, and after that I'd look to the vice president-elect. But I do believe it's very useful, very much like Donald Trump, to consult widely and to not put much stock in the jockeying that's going on down below.
So, Howard, let me ask you, Rudy Giuliani says he's traveled internationally as much as Hillary Clinton, but do you see either of these folks in a Rudy Giuliani, also a Mitt Romney, and now General David Petraeus, who's at Trump Tower? Out of those three, who do you think is qualified for that post?
I'd pick Petraeus. The astonishing thing to me is the staff of Donald Trump going out on the Sunday talk shows and attacking one of the potential nominees, and I think that's got a lot of people scratching their head about why that would be acted out in public. That stuff usually goes behind closed doors. I think Petraeus is the best qualified. It is true that he's on probation for leaking secrets. I do not think David Petraeus is a security risk, and I think he's acquitted himself very well as a general. You know, it's not for me to pick the next Secretary of State. I think Donald Trump will be doing that. But I see him as very, very well qualified.
But do you think, though, and Howard, we saw in the fact that President Obama was able to pick Hillary Clinton, his biggest foe in the 2008 campaign. Kellyanne Conway's biggest hiccup is the fact that Mitt Romney was unkind to Donald Trump, and this seems to be turning on his supporters to even give him a head nod to have this very prestigious post. Isn't there a way to come together on the right?
Well, Hugh knows a lot more about the right than I do, so I'd love to hear what he says about it. Can't get over the whatever Kellyanne's position is, and I don't know if that's been announced yet, is going out and publicly handicapping the race on television. She should be part of the decision-making process inside, but not outside. I've just never seen anything like this, and I don't understand it. There's a lot of speculation, but I prefer not to speculate because I don't think anybody can know, or I certainly can't.
So, you know, I don't know anything. I don't know anything, Thomas, but I do know that as a Republican, I would be very cheered if tomorrow the president-elect and the vice president-elect appeared with General Mattis as Secretary of Defense, Mitt Romney as Secretary of State, General Petraeus or Stanley McChrystal as head of DHS. The attack at Ohio State today by a Somali refugee who went to Pakistan and the United States again reminds us of the terrible risks we face from either sudden jihad syndrome or from someone coming into the United States with the intent to harm. We need a Secretary of the Treasury. We need a lot of people, and the more stature, the more assistance you get, the bigger Donald Trump becomes. And with that kind of a team of rival, I think he wins the transition. And one other note, I'm a Romney fan, but if you want to get a lot done in the first 100 days, Mike Pence and Mitt Romney working their old pal Paul Ryan and their friend Mitch McConnell helps get that done for the president-elect.
So, Howard, let me ask you, what do you think of the efforts of Jill Stein with the recount to take place for Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania? Do you support it?
Sure. I mean, look, I think when you're electing the President of the United States or anybody else, you want to make sure the vote count was right. I was somewhat shocked, although I rarely am shocked by anything Donald Trump does these days, at his tirade last night on Twitter. Look, recounting is part of democracy. You want to get this right. And so I think it's very reasonable. We had a big recount in 2000. The court ended up intervening in that. But this is part of democracy. This is how it goes. Everybody should want their vote. It's going to make Donald Trump a stronger president if he prevails.
Hugh, do you agree real quickly? I got 10 seconds.
No, it's a scam. I think the waste of $6 million on this is shameful. It should go to the Salvation Army, the Semper Fi Fund, to the United Way. It's a shameful thing that Jill Stein is doing. It's a scam.
Hugh, thanks so much. Howard, thank you both.
Thank
nice
you.
to see you. Hope you had a good Thanksgiving.